Hello and welcome to the Startline podcast with me, Beth Espy. This is where we get behind the scenes with road racers, from signing up for events and prepping their bikes to finding the funds and making the dream a reality. We're going to follow riders all with one goal in sight: to line up at the Manx Grand Prix in 2026. Thank you so much for downloading this episode of Startline, where today we're going to hear about the MGP from two different perspectives. So there's one rider who's done it for the past few years. The other is hoping to be here in 2026. They both live pretty far away from the Isle of Man. One has very Manx connections, as we'll hear, so let's meet them now.
Hi, I'm Stuart Clotworthy, a Manx American kind of transplant. I've been racing since 2017 and done Manx Grand Prix since 4 or 5 years. And race a lot in the US, but honestly, I just do circuit racing to get me to the roads. I have no real interest in it.
I'm Stefan Alger. Started racing in 2014, obviously American. And then I've been going, I went to the Isle of Man for the first time in 2018, and I've been going every year since. And I've been helping Stu when he started racing. I've been on his crew every year since he started racing. And with the whole goal, I've been trying to get into the Manx Grand Prix myself. So yeah, I've been doing as much racing as I can in the States, and then going to the Isle of Man every year and hopefully get in.
So as we're talking at the moment, we're sort of like towards the end of December. I know sort of decisions hopefully out sort of mid-January. We'll talk about that much more in a moment, Stefan. But first of all, Stuart, just take us back. As you mentioned, you being a Manx American, just give us a little bit of your history, first of all.
The accent really just messes with people now. So born in Sheffield, moved to the Isle of Man when I was 2, I believe, and then grew up in Laxey and went to Ballacmean High School in Douglas, left when I was 21. Moved to New Zealand, lived there for 12 years between New Zealand and the US, and that's where the accent really started to get messed up.
Do you find when you come back to the Isle of Man, you get a little bit more of a Manx twang?
Yes, totally. I pick it up real thick. Every time I come back, I definitely readjust. But everyone just makes fun of me for sounding American now, all my school friends.
He doesn't, by the way. At all.
They think I sound like Harry Potter.
Whereabouts in America are you?
We are just outside of Reno, Nevada.
And is there a lot of racing that goes on around there, or do you have to travel quite a bit to that?
The nearest racing to here is about 3 hours. There's a couple tracks within 3 hours to here. Everything else is about 5 to 6 hours away. So there used to be a track about 45 minutes away, but it closed a few years ago. So yeah, now it's about 3 hours or more if we want to race on circuits.
But by American standards, that's just right. Yeah, that's just around the corner.
Yeah, that's nothing for us.
Yeah, we'll drive 10 hours to go race CVMA in winter.
So, Stuart, did you always grow up knowing that you wanted to do racing?
No, actually, I grew up in a motorcycle family with my dad was heavily into it, and we marshaled. And now that I'm older, I get to see the logic and niceness of, he always marshaled the Manx Grand Prix and TT practice. And it was always because he only ever marshaled the sessions he knew would be hard to fill. Practice for TT, and then we'd go watch the racing at different places because there's always plenty of marshals. So I always grew up thinking anyone that rides a TT or Manx Grand Prix is an untouchable hero, that you could never do that. And it's only recently that I was like, I could do that. Give me a crack at that. I got this. That only started really in my 30s. I got a bit of jealousy watching everyone else have fun. I grew up off-road. I started with trials and then moved into enduro world. And that's been my background until 2017. And literally, I decided I wanted to do the Manx Grand Prix, and that's when I went and did my first track day and started racing 2 months later.
Wow. And what about you, Stefan? Did you grow up in a biking family?
I did. My dad still is actually. He's in his mid-70s now, still rides dirt bikes. So we grew up in the middle of the desert in Nevada. My dad always had dirt bikes, big into it, still is. And as far as road racing goes, I didn't know that even existed because where I grew up, it just wasn't a thing. And so I didn't get my first street bike till I was probably in my mid-20s. Started riding it, really fell in love with that. And then my brother-in-law, he sent me a video about probably 15 years ago about this crazy race over on this island that I'd never heard of. And I watched it. I just thought that would be cool to go see someday. And that was my whole thing. I was just like, I'll never get there, but that looks amazing, and I would love to go watch it. Met Stu, and that became a reality. I went over there for the first time, and I just fell in love with it. So I've been back every year that I could since. And then by that time, I was into the point where I just started racing again, I still didn't think the Isle of Man was a potential thing I could do. And then it just, the more I went, the more I got into it, the more I thought, and then the more people I met over there. That's the biggest thing, is meeting people over there. We get, I met through Stuart, I met Eric Wilson, Dave Hewson, Dodd Spence, just legends of the TT race. Just met all these guys, and they make it a possibility for us to come over, especially coming from all the way from America. These are the guys that actually make it possible for guys like us to come that far and race. It just, the more I went into it, the more I thought, this is actually a possibility that I could do this. So, and then I just started doing everything I could on my end to help myself get into it, which a lot of that was just going over there, doing laps every day that I'm over there. But like I said, I've been over 5 or 6 times, and every day I try to do as many laps around the course as possible. And like I say, just try to make it as much of a reality for myself as possible. Yeah, it's been, like I said, I didn't know it existed, and then I fell in love with it.
I'm just intrigued. So when you two met, those early conversations, I guess, when you find you've got a shared passion, obviously that sparked a friendship. And then, and Stefan, you've been supporting Stu as well. So that must have been quite something when you realised that you've met somebody who's got that connection to the island as well.
Yeah, that was really cool. Turns out we were neighbors for a couple of years in a tiny little town of maybe 2,000 people. We're the only guys that were into bikes, and we hadn't met each other for a long time. And we finally ran into each other, and we're just like, okay, we live a street from each other, and we have this one very random shared hobby. So that was really fun. And then, yeah, when the opportunity came to go to the Isle of Man, I obviously jumped on it for the first time, and then been going ever since. Because the first couple times it was just fantastic just to be a spectator, but then eventually, the more I get into it, the more I thought this could actually be a reality. I could actually do this.
And for you, Stuart, what do you remember about that time when you were waiting to find out whether or not your NGP entry had been accepted?
No, I was ready with the license and everything, and I was set to enter for 2020 for COVID. And I'd been over in 19. I'd done some laps with Dave Magdal, Mixon, however you say his name, and Carolyn and the others. And so I was all ready for 2020, and obviously that fell apart. And it's quite useful in hindsight. I was not exactly happy, but over here we didn't stop racing. So I actually got because we race 10 months of the year around here because the weather's nice. So I actually got a lot more experience, and when I finally got to race, I was in a way better place. But the downside of that, and this is where Stefan has left out that I do actually owe him a massive favor, is 22, they didn't actually tell us about our entries until July. And so I had a CBR 600 that I'd kept on the island and was all ready for the junior, and they changed the rules and, of course, only gave me an entry for the junior, which was now a twin. So I actually didn't have a bike for it and couldn't afford a bike. So Stefan is actually the team owner and bought me a motorcycle at very short notice. Luckily, Peter Wilkinson, I went to school with, still had his twin in his garage and hadn't ridden it for a couple of years. So I was able to buy that off him at extremely short notice on the island. And the first time I'd ever ridden a twin was on the Startline of Glencrutchery Road in 22. I'd never even stepped foot on a twin before that moment. So I was kind of backed into a corner of, I guess I got to learn how to ride these things. But yeah, we only got our entries in, I think it was late June or early July. It was 6 weeks before the event.
He still had to make fun of me, even though I bought the bike. So
Stefan loves pugs racing. Yeah, because he really loves pugs.
Do you love pugs, Stefan?
I do not. But if you look at the Manx Grand Prix brochure, apparently I do. So
there was an wheel end that came with pugs, and they were not particularly enjoyable pugs or girlfriend.
But the name stuck, unfortunately.
Pug life is forever. It's not something he chose.
I look forward to seeing that in the brochure this year. Anyway.
Yeah, it's great. I love seeing it every year.
With friends like this, Stefan, hey, you know what?
And now I've amassed all the classics and other bikes. It means there's a twin there with his name on it, ready to go should he get an entry, and I'll have to hold good to that promise.
Absolutely will. So is the plan, Stuart, are you planning to do next year again as well then?
Yep. Yeah, I'm going to keep coming back as long as they let me. It's too much fun riding around in circles on a beautiful piece of tarmac. Maybe eventually I might get good at it if I do it long enough.
Have you got an idea in your mind of what it is ultimately that you'd want to achieve around there?
No, it's just me having fun. 43 now, I've got nothing to prove. If you get beat by 21-year-olds, that's fair enough. if I beat them, I'm an old guy that just beats some 21-year-olds. It's a win-win for me. I can't lose.
This year, you had a little bit of an incident sort of early on. And, do you know, after speaking to you after that, I was just really amazed at just how you got back out there. It was obviously, you know, it's not an easy thing to do anyway, but when you've had a little bit of an incident out on the course and then having to sort of nurse a little bit of an injury back. I mean, there are people, Stuart, who sit there and think, why on earth do you do it?
I made a mistake that I knew what I did wrong. It's the ones that you don't know really what you did or didn't see it coming. That's when the ones that are tough to get out of your head. But plain and simple, I made a mistake and I didn't do it again. I will learn from that. But, you know, I mean, you just can't go around asking for sympathy. My toenail's just about to fall off right now. You can't get sympathy for a black foot. Nobody cares. If you've got an owie on your big toe and a team like ours, there really wasn't any room for sympathy.
There's not a lot of sympathy in that in our fits.
You just got to get on with the job, get back on, crack on.
When Stefan told you then, Stuart, that this was his dream, that he was going to put his entry in, what sort of advice are you giving him?
You know, I supported it for a while now because he's a safe and steady race. Like, it's one of the environments where I think he will actually thrive. And we have the team. We've got the support with Dave, Eric, and Dodd. And just that experience alone is, Dodd's still on the top 10 most finishes of all time. I saw the list the other day. Yeah, it's like we've got everything is in place. It's not like we really are coming into something unprepared. And when you've got that kind of backing and that team for Stefan, it's all he needs to do is figure out the riding part. He's 100% in a better place than I was when I came over. I was trying to figure out how I was going to do it. Especially with him being my pit crew for 4 or 5 years now. And it's like he pushes my bike through the scrutiny and he's the one that does my fueling. Like, he knows all of the side that a lot of the newcomers have to figure out is out of his head. He can just focus on the job. He knows everything else on it, so it should be a lot easier for him, I think.
It is nice knowing the process to get to the start line as far as going through tech inspection, and then, like you say, we can't harp on this enough with Dodd and Eric and Dave. With the experience and knowledge they have, is you just show up and they just know what's going on. So even when I talk to them about, like I said, I've never obviously raced a lap on but I've been around the course enough times where I ask them about this corner and this corner, and the experience those guys have, especially Dodd, just the amount of laps. And like I say, he's, as Stu said, he's top 10 all-time finishes on the Isle of Man. So to have that guy with just there, his knowledge is priceless.
It takes a huge stress off us.
Yeah. Obviously, it's the Isle of Man. Anything can happen. But when you know Eric's done a once-over on the bike and it's ready to go, that bike is in the best shape it can be to go on that race.
Yeah, and having that confidence is just key, isn't it? And there's one thing sort of doing as many laps, I guess, Stefan, as you can when you're over there. But, in terms of learning the course, the corners, the names and everything, how have you done on that so far?
I watch as many onboards as possible. I'm bad with the names, but visually, if you print visually, I'm good. Some of those names are a little hard to remember and hard to pronounce. But visually, I do watch as many onboards as possible, and I try to, and as fun as those 135-mile-an-hour lap onboards are to watch, you don't learn anything from those. You have to watch the Super Twin Manx Grand Prix onboards from guys that, and those are the ones you learn from. But yeah, so visually I feel like I have it dialed, but I need to learn the names of the corners a lot better.
Yeah, I guess that's that's all going to be part of the process, hopefully, for the next few months, isn't it? Because needing to know if they talk about conditions at certain parts of the course is going to be really important, and knowing where you're going. There's obviously the newcomers weekends. How would that work for you in terms of getting over there for those?
It'd be fine. I can take the time off of work. I'll get the time off work. Stu's mom has an apartment there, so I've got a place to stay. That's where the bike is. So, I've got it all in my head. I've got it all planned out. Whether there's, all the best laid plans can fail, but
he's sugarcoating it a little. For us international people, it's a logistical nightmare that we don't technically agree on whether these processes. If they're going to announce the dates they're going to announce whether he's even got a ride in mid-January and expect him to show up in February.
A little heads up would be nice.
How long does it roughly take for you to get over?
Depending on the flights, from Reno, we fly out of Reno. Depending on the flights, 15 to 17 hours.
Oh my God, really? And then you've got, I suppose, being jet lagged and stuff, Stuart. I don't know if that's ever bothered you or
time difference and all that. So it is a trek to get over there. And like Stu was saying, it would be nice to have a little more heads up. I mean, obviously the July dates are far enough out, but if I get the nod in mid-January and have to be over there late February, that's pushing it. But I'll make it happen. This is something that I will make happen.
It is what it is.
Yes.
We will do.
And Stuart, obviously, I know you've got a family as well. What are their feelings about all of your racing endeavours so far? And any of the kids sort of showing any signs that they'll want to do the same sort of thing?
Yeah, Taj is 2, and he's a little menace on his offset. He's definitely, I see potential interest in that one. Luckily, Joey, she's 5 now and hasn't really shown too much interest. So we'll see how that one goes. But I mean, I'm not going to force them. My parents did the same. They didn't really force us into it. When your dad's always on bikes and you're around bikes, I don't think you really have a choice.
And your brother helps you a lot as well, doesn't he? I know he doesn't live on the Isle of Man anymore, but you often see him sort of around the paddock and whatever. And that must be really lovely having that family support there.
Yep. Even my mother came over this year for the first time. She's moved over to Spain. Kieran's in Edinburgh. So it's a good excuse for a family gathering. And I get to play motorbikes. So I think I'm winning out of it.
And Stefan, what do your family make of it all?
I don't have a wife or kids, so we're good there. My mom's a little hesitant. She supports it in that she knows this is really, really what I want to do. So she supports it in that aspect. My dad, if it was his way, if he had his way, he would be on the bike behind me and at the start line. So yeah, if it were up to my dad, he'd be out there racing with me. But yeah, my mom's a little more hesitant, but she is also very supportive.
He forgets to tell you that his sister is actually faster than him on a race bike too.
She's shown any signs of wanting to do MGP?
No, she kind of got out of road racing. We started road racing about the same time, and then she got real selfish and had 2 kids, and so she does dirt racing now. But she kind of got out of road racing. But she was really fast in road racing.
And do you think your mum and dad would be able to come over to the island to watch? Would that
absolutely? I call them my parents. They're also my title sponsors if I get in. But no, my mom is extremely excited to come over. She loves travel. She loves anything in Europe. So that's kind of her selling point of if I get in, that's her excuse to come over. And she really wants to go visit the Isle of Man because every time I go over there, I tell her about it and I bring her gifts. And she really wants to go. I think partially to watch me race, but I think a larger majority was just she wants to go. And then my dad will he probably won't leave the paddock. He'll be around motorcycles and he'll be the happiest man you'll ever see.
Well, that's just amazing again to have that support, isn't it? It's just lovely to have people back you because I suppose not every family does, do they? Because, you know, it is a dangerous sport. It comes with a lot riding on it, if you excuse the pun. And yeah, it can be difficult, I think, for family to watch.
Like I said, my mom's nervous, but she knows how much I want this. And so I think she if I got the nod, she'd be more than happy to come over and support. So.
And between you two, then, is there anything else you talk about other than bikes?
I don't think so, no, because he hates the snow.
We do hate the snow.
And I love snow, so doesn't talk to me about snow things. No, just bikes.
We argue about everything.
Just bikes and pugs.
My favorite subject.
So in terms of like what the next few weeks look like for you two then, is there any sort of racing coming up or are you heading off for anything?
It's kind of the off season right now just because it is winter. I mean, it just dumped about 4 feet of snow about a half hour from here the last 2 days. So it's kind of the off season. There's one series down in Southern California. It's about a 11-hour drive that they do a winter series. But I haven't been down there yet. But other than that, most things fire up around March around here. And as far as track days and the club racing starts, usually around March.
Stefan, if you don't like snow, you're not living really in the right place, are you?
Where I grew up is colder than where I am now. So I'm getting a little warmer. I don't hate it. I ski. I bought a snowmobile from Stu a few years ago that I hated. I just couldn't get into it. And I ended up selling that. But I do still ski. So I take a little advantage of the snow.
Have you done any other racing over here, Stuart? Have you done anything down on the Blount course?
Yeah, I was here for the ill-fated year for the Southern 100, so I've done practice. I never got to race. Same. It seems like with the Irish stuff, have a similar fate. I get to practice a lot of places, and we were literally out at the gate, ready to go at Tangier, and it started pouring so badly with rain, and there was a bit of a oil slick, and that got cancelled right as I was at the gate having practice. I've done Cookstown. The intention this year is I really liked the way the dates lined up last year for the Southern 100 and Tangier being a week apart. So for me to come and do one after the other, I think I'll do that this year. The bikes are on the island. The insurance is the same insurance for racing, so it's be rude not to.
And how does it all fit in work-wise and sort of like making sure that you get the time off and whatever?
You know, I work for an Italian company, and I've worked for them for a long time. So they are I can do a lot of my work remotely. So even when I come to the Manx Grand Prix, I tend to still work during the day and then jump on the bike. I don't tend to actually miss as much work as people would expect, because as long as I can answer phone calls and emails during the day, I can be anywhere in the world in summer.
Wow, so that works out all right. What about for you, Stefan? Have you got sort of work to think about?
I didn't for a while. I used to own a trucking company. I sold that a couple of years ago, so I was somewhat unemployed for a little while, but I sold it and was fine. I just started a new job, but the company I work for now offers a lot of vacation, so it's plenty of vacation time.
The other side of things that racers have to think about now is being on social media and sort of, letting everybody know how they're doing.
He's already laughing.
I'm going to put that question out there. How do you find that side of things?
Awful. Both of us. Possibly the worst.
He's better than me, which is not saying much.
I literally throw out occasional stuff to keep my family happy that they've seen things, and I'm okay at that. Stefan is non-existent.
I'm trying to get better.
So neither of us are good in any way, shape, or form on that front.
So if I'm going to ask you where people can find you and sort of follow you, keep up to date with your progress, would you have an answer to that yet?
Just personal Facebook and Instagram pages, and that's it. That's as far as we go. We don't have none of this newfangled TikToks and stuff like that. We don't even know what they are, to be honest.
I'll make him do a dance and I'll put it on TikTok. Yeah, I'll figure out how TikTok works today.
No, I don't dance anymore. Nearly put me out of my first Manx Grand Prix. I couldn't actually walk very well when I came over because I dislocated my kneecap singing the final countdown at a karaoke bar. So I don't karaoke anymore. No more singing or dancing. It's too dangerous.
He's got to stick to It's Africa by Toto from now on. A lot more mellow song.
Got to be a video of this karaoke somewhere, though, Stefan, if you can find that.
A picture of him getting loaded into the ambulance. Phenomenal.
We'll take that.
That's a true story. I really do.
And you can't even make that up, can you?
No. I mean, of all the things I was expecting to find out about you today, that probably wasn't it, but it's going to be etched on my mind forever. So good luck when I see you in the paddock next year. Well, do you know what? It's been brilliant talking to you. Thank you so much. We've got everything crossed for you, Stefan, and let us know when you hear, hopefully, that you're going to be over here. But yeah, just I guess that waiting is just, I can't imagine what it's like just sitting there refreshing your emails and just, nail biting a little bit.
Yeah, this is the most involved I've been with social media in a long time, just because I am checking my email constantly and looking at Facebook, trying, and I know it won't be till for a couple more weeks they make their decisions. So I don't know why I still do it, but I'm still doing it.
We're in between Christmas and New Year, so have you got any big New Year plans? Are you going to drag Stuart out to a karaoke bar and send us the footage?
He's not very adamant about a lot of things, but he's very adamant about never doing karaoke again.
No, I'm retired. I'm done. I've hung it up.
We're all very sad about that.
Last time we were on the Isle of Man after the race, his brother Kieran and we did Final Countdown in his honor, even though he was there.
Yeah, Kieran will take that one for the team without much persuasion.
We're going to leave it there, and that's all I'm ever going to sing at you again, Stuart. And best of luck. We hope to see you over here, and we'll catch up with you again soon.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
The karaoke king and the pug lover, Stuart and Stefan, just brilliant talking to them, and really do hope to see them on the Isle of Man in 2026. The links to their social media are on the podcast page, so do give them a follow. Thank you very much indeed for listening to this episode of Startline. Do take some time to find the riders on social media. Your support is very much appreciated. And if you'd like to get in touch with me and be part of the podcast in the future, you can email beth@startline.im. Until next time, take care. Bye-bye.